So let us start. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Nidhaya Hridi Vishveshwam Vidhaya Guru Vandanam Balanam Sukhabodhaya Kriyate Darsha Sangraha. Okay. Then the next aspect is after sparsha, in rupa, connected with rupa, change of color. Because rupa they take as color more than form. Because remember, chakshu matra grahanam rupam. That we can see only by your eyes is called rupa. Whereas form you can touch and feel also. No? Therefore, color is, rupa they take as color. In Vedanta, rupa is taken as both form and color. Okay? Understand this difference that is there. Okay? Now, the fifth verse there, that is there in chapter 3. Rupadi chatushtayam prithivayam paka janma anityam cha. Pakajanyam rupam anityam cha. It is there with Prithvi onwards, all the four. Yeah. All the four it is there. Okay. All the four it is there, he says. Okay. All right. Anyatra apakajam nityam anityam cha. So whichever rupa is found naturally, whatever is both nityam and anityam. Nityagatam, nityam, that is there in the nitya vastu, paramanu, etc. is called nityam. Anityagatam, anityam. Simple. Okay, anityagatam, anityam, nityagatam, nityam. Now, what is this pakam that we are talking about? Okay, what is the pakam that we are talking about? He says, the old example. This is where it came from. Again, remember, lot of Nyaya, like science, is about observation and conclusion. Okay. So they say, the theory comes up that take a mud pot, clay, na? What will be the color be? Brownish. You heat it because you have to bake the pot. Color changes or not? To dark red or black. This change of color is called pakam. Pakam literally means cooking, okay? In all South Indian language, pakam is cooking, na? Same way. Application of heat. They'll say tejas, light. Okay? Yeah. Because light and heat go together. So whatever change of color takes place, because of an external force, an external action, is called pakaha. Heat generally. It is not, doesn't come with painting. Painting will say samyoga, etc. You will bring in. Okay? Samvai, karanam, etc. will come into the picture. So painting is different. What is created by heat is called pakajanya. Okay? Okay. Simple. There's nothing much you have to go into it. Remember, it's all about observation. The real implications of Tarka will start when we do Shabda and Jnanam. That is from the 16th verse onwards. Jnanam. When you do it, Jnanam, that is cognition, 16th verse. From there, you will get the real sense of what Tarka is about. Okay? Now, all this is background, data. Because when you have to use logic, you need data. So this is the data that they are providing. Then number, sankhya. Ekatvadi vyavahara hetu sankhya. What is sankhya, number? He says, number. Ekatvadi vyavahara hetu. Very nicely put. Vyavahara hetu. In transaction, you have 1, 2, etc. No? That is called number. That means the number stands for an object or a quality. How many qualities are there? 3. How many things are there? 2. Numbers don't exist by themselves, no? This is how math should be taught. There are n number of points on the number line. What do you mean n number of points? A number has to stand for an object. Otherwise, where is number? How many people sitting here? Number. So, yeah, a number is standing for an object or a quality or a thing. It does not exist by itself. Whereas the unfortunate part of our modern education is numbers are taught as though it's something independent. Yeah. It's abstract. Whereas math abstract, it is not abstract. Mathematics is a language. A language is to communicate an idea. An idea deals with what you are dealing with. Isn't it? Mathematics is a language, it's a technical language. What we call in epistemology, etc., as a meta language. A meta language. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little technical language, but it's a language all the same. Yeah. Mathematics is language, okay. Logical language. Very highly logical language. Yeah. That's why a function, you define function. But function has something to do with numbers. Without numbers, function won't exist. Function is calculus, no? Okay. Yeah. 1 to 1 or 1 to many. It's called function. Yeah. But 1 to 1 or 1 to many, no? So there is again numbers. So entities. Yeah. Look at it. When it comes in Tarka, we'll question, why are they doing it like this? When it comes to mathematics, you blindly follow. But unless you question mathematics, there also you won't understand it. Worst is people mugging up mathematics. One thing you are not supposed to mug up is mathematics. Okay. Ekatvadi vyavahara hetu sankyaha. Sa nava dravya vritti. Numbers and? I said meta language, not meta numbers. Yeah. So, nava dravya vritti, it is there in all the 9 dravyas. Remember dravya, objects. The locus of guna. Okay, dravya, nava dravya, sing. Okay. Ekatvadi parardha paryanta. From 1 it can go up to parardha. Okay. Now parardha is 1 lakh of crores. Now you can imagine how many zeros, okay? You can add it. 1 lakh crores. Yeah. So 1 crore raised to 1 lakh. Now you count the zeros, don't ask me to count it. Okay. Parardha paryantaha. Now, yeah? Infinity is there, but it is used only in the practical sense. Yeah, in the practical sense. Okay. Huge numbers that you can't count will be taken as infinity. Yeah. Like in science, similar to science. Yeah. Then he says, Ekatvam nityam anityam cha. But when you talk about oneness, it can be nityam and anityam. What is nityam and anityam of oneness? Nityagatam nityam. So when you talk of one atom, that oneness of that atom is nityam. This oneness that he is talking about is different from the oneness of Vedanta. Understand that. When we talk about oneness of Vedanta, we are talking it as all inclusive, nothing is separate. When you are talking about oneness here, we are just saying one atom. And one atom is Nityam, is always there. Therefore, the singularity of that atom is always there. That it is singular, it's always there. Anityagatam, anityam. One book. This is anityam, no? It was subject to destruction. If it is subject to destruction, it is anityam. So that oneness of the book, one, when you say one book, that's also subject to destruction. Ditvadikam tu sarvatra anityameva. Whereas 2, 3, etc. is always anityam. Because 2 can become 4, it can be chopped down, a lot of things can happen. Now, why is he saying it? This is building up a Purvapaksha for Atmaha Nitya. Advaitam Nityam, you say, no? Remember, Advaita already existed before Tarka came into the picture. Therefore, Advaita talks about oneness. Therefore, what do you mean by oneness? Nityagatam, Anityagatam. Therefore, you will say it's got an Anitya component also. There's a Purvapaksha for that. Okay? That's why he is putting it. But the oneness can be Nityam and Anityam. And 2, etc. is Anityam. Then he can say, now look at the Purvapaksha. Wherever it is Nitya Vastu, there is oneness. But that does not prove limitlessness. It does not prove limitlessness. Atma Nityam. Okay, Nityam. So wherever there is one Atma, you will say it is Nityam. No? But how many Atmas are there? Anekaha, therefore Anityam. Paramatma Ekameva, therefore oneness there. Are you getting the idea? Because they don't accept one Atma manifest in 100 bodies. What is the proof for that? Can you see it? Because remember, they are going by observation and data. Same as science in that way. Okay? That we have to handle differently. Anityam, because it came together, no? It came together.
Yeah, but it still remains one.
Correct. But that coming together form can become anityam, no? 100 papers made up the book. I can go back to 100 papers, then where is the book? Physically. We are not talking conceptually. Physically, you tear it up. So now only 100 papers, the book is gone. So where is 100? One paper, one paper, one paper. Huh?
And the book is Anitya.
Don't confuse Satya Mithya with this. This does not have Mithya. Tarka does not have Mithya in it.
No. Each paper is Nitya.
Ha. Each, but then you will say, but each paper is made up of Paramanus. Therefore, Anityam. Then what is Nityam? Only oneness of the Paramanu is Nityam. Nothing else is Nityam.
So every time Tarka they talk about Nityam, he goes back to Paramatma.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they have Paramanus for everything. Okay. Any question then? Yeah. Yeah, they divide. But then Paramanus by definitions are Nityam. The Paramanu is Nityam. That's by definition they have made it. Because fundamental building block. Science is the same thing, identical thing. Then only when they split the atom, the whole idea changed. Until they split the atom, the whole idea remained like that. Yeah. For 50 years, the fact that atom was indivisible stayed. We still studied atom is indivisible in school, even though when we were studying it in school, it was already divided. It is divided in World War II. Okay. Application also is there in World War II. We might have studied in the 50s and 60s or 70s. We still studied atom is an indivisible thing. No? How education falls short, of catching up with reality. Yeah.
So how is that possible that Parmanus are Nityam,
Yeah.
then they split into atoms, they are Anityam, but one atom is Nityam.
Yeah. But when you put half a dozen atoms together, whatever new form is created is anityam. That's correct, no? This is not wrong. Vyavahara dashayam, it is correct. When you put half a dozen together, naturally.
So all Anityam can be broken down to Nityam.
So for them, Satyam will become what? Paramanus. Exactly.
But that Parmanu is one across everything.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
there will be different Parmanu.
No, it is Vaisheshika, remember? So there are Paramanus for one atom differs from atom of a different thing, which is correct, no? Hydrogen atom, helium atoms are different, no?
So that is also not one.
Molecule, yeah?
It's not one.
Is not one. Yeah. Therefore, wherever you can reduce it to one, it is Nityam.
But those ones, then they will refer to as Dravya only, no?
Yeah. They,
They will then take it back to Dravya only.
yeah, that one Dravya, yeah, that will be Nityam. Combination is Anityam. Combination of Paramanus is Anityam because there is more than one. Which fits in with the modern idea also, no? The modern idea is that atom is not Nityam. That atom itself is not Nityam. That is the modern idea, which is true. Okay. Then number, Sankhya. Now remember, I am doing this not too much in depth, okay? I can go in greater depth, but this much knowledge is enough for us, okay? Ekatvadi vyavahara hetu Sankhya. Yeah?
So by that logic, oxygen will become Nitya, hydrogen will become Anitya.
Ha. But now we are talking about oxygen and hydrogen. O2. This is the modern version. For them, oxygen is one. Yeah. In fact, for them, air will have only one atom.
Because Dravya, what is Dravya?
Yeah. They have not divided the air up.
So it was not known.
Yeah. Yeah. So in some things they were primitive compared to modern science. Yeah. But as I say, an idea may look primitive from some other standpoint, but it can work. My old example, remember? Wave motion, but this is straight line. It works. So, straight line is primitive. Wave motion is modern, but it works. Yeah. Your digestion depends upon air. Air element has gone haywire. But air is not an element, correct? But Vayu Gulugya works. Yeah. If you have those symptoms, when your energy is going haywire, you are vomiting, all that is happening, by whatever reason, infection or heat stroke, whatever, even heart attack, these things can happen, okay? You take that one Vayu Gulugya, or two of them as a dose, believe me, it settles down everything. It settles down everything. It works. Yeah?
So when they expounded Tarka,
Yeah.
they just did it logically. They did
Yeah.
not have to prove it.
As of now, we don't know whether they had any experimental verification. Yeah. Probably not. Okay. Or maybe they had. Okay. Yeah. That's why I said this is the forerunner to theoretical physics. Yeah, because what does a theoretical physicist do? He looks at things and invents a theory for it. Only difference is there is a mathematical component to modern theories. But, oh, I want to do the math for it and see. Mathematically it has worked out, means it is correct. They are giving, scientists also give so much of importance to mathematics as though mathematics cannot be questioned. But mathematics theories are keeping on coming up. Old theories are being discarded. Go on the YouTube and see, when you have a complex function, left side is equal to right side. Okay, simple. Okay, take simple numbers. 2 plus 5, parenthesis, 3 minus 2, okay, plus 7 is equal to some. When there are 3 different ways of solving it. 2 fundamental different ways. One, what we are taught in school when we were very young. This is for those who have studied in the 60s and maybe up to 70s. And the other system is what your calculators are using. You will get 2 different answers. Okay, they follow left to right system. We said whatever is in parenthesis, whatever is in brackets, take that separately. Yeah. So now what is the correct answer? Correct answer will design. किधर है यार इतना? देख सब डाल के. कितना है देख. Can you have any correct answer other than that? That's the experimental variable. But so if you are going to have 2 systems for the same equation and get 2 different answers, which is the right answer? And look at it, we are not looking at fundamental issues. When I am using a form, when I am deciding to put something like this, what makes me decide to put this into brackets first? See, we are studying at abstract form. But remember, mathematics language referring numbers. Numbers are things. Why should this be in the bracket in the first place? Tell me that. Maths का different picture होता है ना अभी. Mathematics was not my favorite topic, okay? Yeah. But I am using my logic to look at a system. So now you have to be careful of what you are going to do. That means you can use the same formula, you can get 2 different answers. Then you can choose what you want, no? No, but this is wrong according to the old system. According to the old system, this is right. Now what is it? So imagine that poor child's halat. The teacher is teaching the modern system, the mother is helping with the old system. So when you look questioning the very mathematics itself, which theory is the right one, then you get into a bigger mess. So mathematics is also not final in proving. So the modern theory, when you propound a physics theory or any theory, you have to work out the mathematics and show it. That makes it final. Is it final? And you will be amazed. I read some physics papers at the amount of assumptions that are there in those papers. I have not seen a single paper up to now. I am talking about postdoctoral research work after your doctorate. Okay. Those papers, when I have seen, I have not seen a single one where there aren't assumptions. We assume this. If I question that, whole thing changes. So, those modern theories are mathematical. This was not mathematical. That's the only difference. Now, look at all right. So, theoretical physics provides a theoretical framework. Now, how do you prove that right or wrong? The experimental physicists get into the thing. So, what is he trying to prove? Is he trying to prove it is right or is he trying to prove it wrong? No, no, we are just checking it up. No, nobody checks it up. You design an experiment either to prove it wrong or prove it right. No? Because how are you going to say this theory works or not? So you are assuming all the assumptions that the physicist made. Then you are designing your experiment to prove it right. And in spite of that, if it is wrong, it is wrong. But your assumption is what? To prove that it works. So there also there is a bias. Or you are trying to prove it is wrong. Then question all the assumptions. Theoretically also you can take care of that. Yeah?
So to prove this wrong, can we take Vedanta as the alternative way to prove it is correct?
To prove what correct?
To prove
No.
that
No.
this is wrong,
No.
we need to have the
No.
alternative.
So what we say is, in Vyavaharas there can be multiple systems. In the transactional world, because it's a mithya world, you can have more than one system at work. That's why my old joke, no? Whether allopathy, homeopathy, naturopathy, whatever. What works, works. After some time nothing will work. Except my empathy. I empathize with you. Yeah. So everything will work depending upon the frame of reference you choose in Vyavahara. Vedanta is dealing with absolutes, not with Vyavahara. Vyavahara mentions transactional world only to get ready for moksha. So that's all the use of the transactional world. So we say, as far as things are working, go ahead with whatever the paradigm that you are using, go ahead with that. Yeah.
Now also people follow Tarka. There is a school who follows Tarka.
Beg your pardon?
Now also people follow Tarka.
See, the logic aspect of Tarka, which will come, as I said, after the 15th verse, is common to many philosophies, including Western. Because the human, including science. Why? Because the human mind can understand things only logically. No? That's why I said there are certain things beyond logic. And there are things which are within logic. Now you have to decide what is that first. Whatever you don't have data for, perceivable data, can be beyond logic. Heaven, hell, beyond logic. Now, after that, if you are postulating anything, there is heaven, there is hell. This much is beyond logic. Anything else you postulate after that will be within logic. Heaven is eternal. How? That's not logical. You go there because of your karma, you last there because of your karma. So when karma gets over, you should be getting out of heaven. So it's not eternal. See, that's logic. Why? Because you're postulating something. Heaven, hell, yeah, beyond logic, because there's no logic to prove or disprove. Don't say science can disprove it, science cannot. In fact, I forget the name of the scientist. One scientist said, it is in the interest of human beings to believe there is God and heaven and hell. Why? Well, there's nothing to lose. After death, there's nothing to lose if you believe in that. If you don't believe, there may be something to lose. Because it's non-verifiable. Non-verifiable. Therefore, even a non-verifiable thing, if you are speaking something about it, can be either logical or illogical. No, it's a finite place. You go there and you come back. That's logical. Like a holiday home. Chalo, theek hai. That's logical. Why? Because you're not postulating anything which is illogical. Whatever you're postulating about that place is within your realm of experience proved right. How that place will be against the postulation, as I said, with three-dimensional experience. That is fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth dimension. So that will be different. That will be different. Yeah. It's like the pastor in the church is speaking like this, And the kid puts up his hand. If there is life in other planets, and one planet is only made of octopuses, will the prophet appear in front of them as an octopus? Will Jesus appear in front of them as an octopus or as a human being? The priest is lost. Abhi kya karega idhar? No, Jesus as the Son of God is valid for whole of creation. But an octopus is not born of sin. Therefore, is it necessary for Jesus to save him? Young Sheldon, okay, Big Bang Theory ka spin-off. That's right. Can you see? If you need to be saved because of a sin, then octopus doesn't have sin. Only human beings are born in sin. Can you see the logic there and illogicity coming in? Even what looks a little bit sophisticated. Then how will you get out of it? No, Jesus will appear to them as an octopus only. Correct? How else can you come out of it? But then the second question will come up. If he is not born of sin, does it have to be saved? If it doesn't have to be saved, will it go to heaven or hell after death? I just picked up one thing. You pick up any religion. Okay? If you're postulating something, then you have to see whether it's logical or illogical. Correct or not? You get so many virgins there. Reva de. One woman you couldn't handle on earth. And you want 70 of them there. क्या बात कर रहा है? One woman is difficult for you. Yeah. So, anything you postulate, you will have to look into it. Logical. Yeah. Now, one another Indian master said, what will you do there? You don't have a body. No, that can be logically answered. You get a heavenly body of the appropriate to that dimension. So that is a logical question. Logical answer is available. You will get a body appropriate to each dimension. Like how when you came here, you found a body appropriate to this dimension. Logical, illogical, you have to see. Yeah. Even in things that are beyond logic. Any postulation has to be within logic. Yeah. That's why that Paramanu theory, and the theory of this can become a little bit haywire. Yeah. Then he is talking about dimension. See, remember when he is talking about dimension, etc., these are basic minimum working definitions. Refinement of details is always available in our text. If you look at the text, like for example, dimension, etc., elaborate calculations are available. Okay? If you look into the appropriate text on mathematics, etc., you will get elaborate calculations. Like imagine having a number like Pararda, Kakora, etc. Okay? Yeah. Kakora is a term used for infinity, is used for heaven also, both. Yeah. Remember first Vedic Wisdom Festival? Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Kakora. Yeah, Kakora. Okay. Therefore, those details you will have to look into those texts for that. This is basic minimum definitions. Number, Sankhya, this is what it is. Okay? Yeah. Then calculations, all this. Calculations, angles, trigonometry, all that is available. But one thing, you always kept it real. We didn't take it abstract. Certain things were conceptual, but it's always connected with reality. Yeah. Always connected with reality because you're dealing with numbers, no? Object, dravyas, no? Whether it is atomic dravya or gross dravya, it's still dravya. Whether you're dealing with an apple or you're dealing with the atom of an apple, you're still dealing with dravya. You have to keep it real. You can't keep it mere abstract. Okay? Though when you say a number like what is mentioned here, pararda, something that is difficult to conceive of in your mind. No? Yeah. But you're still keeping it real. Yeah. Now similarly, keeping it real, dimension. Parinama. Parimanam. Not parinama. Parinama means change. Parimanam. Measuring. Again, there were sophisticated measuring available. Okay? Measurement of both time as well as objects. Okay? Mana vyavahara sadharanam karanam parimanam. A simple unit of measurement. Simple unit of measurement is called parimanam. Navadravya vritti is there in all dravyas. All objects will be there. Tat chaturvidam is fourfold, but it doesn't go by nityam and nityam that normally goes. This parimanam is fourfold. What is that? This is again anuhu, atomic. Mahat, like space. So the concept of practical infinity comes right here. Mahat, like space. Dirgham Hrusvam cha. You will develop as long, short, etc. Height is also long, short only, no? Yeah. So these fourfold measurement is called parimanam. Now you can refine your measurement things. Yeah. How you are going to refine measurements up to you. There is a traditional ways of splitting a moment. Traditional examples are given. He says, take a 1,000-petaled lotus. 1,000 petals. Put a pin through it in one moment. One moment is not even a second, 1/10 of a second. 1/10 of a second you can put a pin through all the whole lotus. Correct? Remember, many of them are familiar with martial arts. You don't need even 1/10 of a second, okay? To put a pin through the whole lotus. That's it. Okay. Now, when you open up, each lotus petal has a hole. So there is time and distance. Now the time, one moment, is divided into 1,000. So there the idea of time, space, distance, everything was there. These are traditional examples. To remember, this Tarka was taught to what year, at what age was it taught? Gurukulas, Vatus, 6-7-year-old this was taught, okay. So how do you explain to a Vatu about 1,000th of a second? Or, 1 into 10,000 of a second? This way. Then his mind imaginatively will look at all other things necessary. You stimulated that imagination, that measurement, the angle you have stimulated, bas ho gaya. Whatever has to develop after that, they will develop it. You stimulate that and leave it. Yeah. Okay. That is because you are studying language. Because you are studying language, you will take Hrisva Dirgha as measurement of sound. What is Hrisva and Dirgha in Sanskrit? Is Hrisva. Dirgha. Then you have Pluta also, no? Pluta. You're calling out Rama, Pluta. You know what example Panini gives? Yatha Saurashtra Narinam. The ladies in Saurashtra. Takram iti. Selling buttermilk. Takram. That elongation. That's called Pluta. So, that is because you're studying sound. What is language? The study of sound. Language develops from sound. No? That's why when you don't understand a language, you're only hearing sound. If someone speaks in Russian here, it's only sound for all of us, no? Because we don't know the language. But language is basically sound. Sound modified to create ideas, to represent objects, gunas. Jati guna kriya, nama rupa jati guna kriya sambandha. This is what sound language deals with. Yeah, that's what sound will deal. The language will deal with only these things. What else will it deal with? Unless you come to Vedanta, where you will use language which deals with nama rupa jati guna kriya sambandha to point out what is beyond this. Now you know what it takes to be a sampradaya with. Just by reading books you can't become a teacher. You can't teach Vedanta. You have to learn the language to go beyond language. Because the truth is beyond language. So you have to be able to do that. Only then you become a teacher. Sampradaya with you become only then. And in Kathopanishad they said very nicely. If you are a Kushala, taught by a Kushala, then you will go a disease. If you are a Kushala, Viveka, Vairagya, Adi, etc., all that is there. You have led a life of this thing, Samatvam is there, Kushalatvam is there. Mastery of the mind is there, all that is there. You are a Kushala. Then you have to be taught by a Kushala. What is that Kushalatvam? Sampradaya with. Then you become a Kushala. That is Kathopanishad. We will see that soon. Okay, in the Gita class student, we will see that soon. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. That's for Parimanam. Okay. Okay. Then distinctness, pratakvam. Because remember, he is mentioning all the different qualities, etc. Pratak vyavahara sadharana karanam pratakvam. Pratakvam is by which you understand one thing as distinct from others. One as distinct from the other. So whatever creates the distinctness is called pratakvam. Whatever creates it is called pratakvam. Navadravya is there in all objects, he says. Okay? Like Gata and Pata are two different things. Why? How are they two different things? Because there are pratak qualities, different qualities. Therefore, those qualities become then distinct from pratakvam, distinctness. Don't imagine there is something called pratakvam, okay? Yeah. Okay. Asadharana karanam is pratakvam. Asadharana karanam is that unique cause, okay? Yeah. Then samyoga. Samyukta vyavahara hetu samyoga. Whatever helps two things come together is called samyoga. Sarva dravya vritti. It has to be inherent in the thing itself. The two things can join with each other either as a compound or as a mixture. Whatever brings it together is called samyoga. If the compound, there is a chemical change happening. If the mixture, there is only a physical change, no chemical change. That I am drawing from science for it. But the same thing they also follow. Then what is vibhagaha? Samyoga nashaka gunaha vibhaga. Whatever destroys that conjunction is called vibhaga. Two things are together, you split it apart, vibhaga. Whatever does it. That is also inherent in the dravya. Why? Things can come together, things can go apart. Okay. Why do two atoms come together? You can give a scientific explanation. One lost an electron, other one came together, na? Samyoga. If it comes together, can viyoga happen or not happen? Of course it can happen. There it is. Because it came together. Remember, anityam. There was separation happened. Samji, we are married 75 years. God's grace. Predominantly. Everything else that you did secondary. Yeah. Samyoga. Vibhaga also will happen. Maybe at death or whatever. But Vibhaga will happen. 7 lifetimes. So after the 8th one, Vibhaga has happened. Na? ना बोर हो जाने के क्या तुम लोगों को सब okay. Then another quality. See, all this samyoga, vibhaga. Just look at these characters, these intellectuals sitting down, looking at life. Then you will understand how they picked up these ideas. You know, hey, things are coming together. So samyoga is a quality. Getting to viyoga. Then you also use terms like short. So what are you doing actually here? You are making your expressions more precise, isn't it? Isn't that what you are doing? Isn't that all that you are doing? You are bringing a certain sense of precision in how you are going to talk and use those ideas. It is all there in the world, no? You are only refining it. You are only refining it. Or kya? Remote. How remote? Okay. Then you have to refine that idea because you have the idea of remoteness anyway. So he is taking the things that you have seen in the world and giving it a definition, texture, refinement, etc. That's all he is doing. That's why, because this is meant to be taught to Vatus. Okay.
So Swami, Sayadaw can be between two different objects as well as two same objects.
Yeah, that also can come together. Anything that comes is samyoga. Anything goes apart, vibhaga. That's why, see, now it's technically used also. Gitayam, dukkha samyoga, viyoga. And that he puts as a definition for yoga. Look at the beauty of it. Look at the way Krishna is making it paradoxical. Yoga is all about union, no? Because the root meaning is used to join. But dhatoho anekatva, therefore there is different meanings possible, including chapter, subject matter, mastery, etc. So a lot of meanings are available. Then Krishna plays on that word. You have a natural samyoga for dukkha because you are a human being, existential sorrow, finitude. Tasya vibhagaha yoga. Now you are understanding the depth of that, the way he has used that word. Tasya viyogaha. Therefore, separateness from your sense of sorrow is called yoga. He has not yet, at the same time, has he said ananda avapti, etc.? Gaining ananda, etc.? No, he has not said that. Because that is the role of Vedanta, not yoga. It is tending towards Vedanta. In that definition, samatvam, kushalatvam is remaining with yoga. Chittavritti nirodha, definitely remaining with yoga. But in dukkha samyoga viveka, is a tendency towards Vedanta coming in. Is moving closer. That's why my stand that yoga was associated with Vedanta, not with Sankhya. That is a later development. Yeah? That is not connected with the class. Okay. So, All these definitions, etc. You understand Tarka, then the meaning, sort of you get a deeper idea of certain things. Okay. Then you also use terms like that is far, this is close. That is far, this is close. Okay. So let us look into that. Okay. Para, apara, vyavahara, sadharana, asadharana karne, paratva, aparatva. So asadharana karna. Unique cause. Whatever makes it far away or close by. Para and apara, vyavahara. Is paratvam, remoteness, aparatvam, close. Prithiviyadi chatushtya manovrittini. It is there in all the four Panchabhutas and your mind also. Mind can be remote or it can be close. Te divide diklirte kalakritecha. That can be twofold. The remoteness and proximity can be twofold. That which is spatial or that which is time based. Gangotri, spatial. जब मैं छोटा बच्चा था बहुत शरारत करता था टाइम बेस्ड रिमोटनेस मेमोरी है टाइम बेस्ड गंगोत्री स्पेस बेस्ड ओके या कालकृते देश समटाइम्स बोथ विल मर्ज हाउ फार आर यू फ्रॉम दिस प्लेस हाफ एन आवर ड्राइव because they are interconnected time and space. You can use one to measure the other. Half an hour away is time-based measurement of distance. Okay. Duraste dikritam paratvam. Dirkadikritam. When it is away from you, it is called param. So param is not always absolute. That's Vedantic usage. It's param, is away. That's all it means. Okay? Durastam, dikrite, heaven, paraha. Doesn't mean it's absolute. Paraha. Samipasthite dikritam aparatva. When it is close in terms of space, it is called aparatvam. Jeshte kalakritam paratvam. He is elder, he is my older brother. Older brother is dik. Kalakrita paratvam. Kanishte kalakrita aparatvam. He is younger than. He is younger to that guy. Means closer to my age. No? Therefore, aparatvam. These are purely based on language and usage. Nothing else. Your observation. No? Something is close to you. In terms of space. Door closed. But it is relative, remember. The door is far, book is close. Correct? So it's a relative thing. Door is close, car station is far. Can you see? It's a relative term. But that's okay. But you use it all the time. You use it all the time. He's 5 years older than me. He's only a few months older than me. Paratvam, aparatvam. It comes in. It comes in everywhere. Okay. Okay. So this is as much as, yeah. Then gurutvam. Adya patana samavayi karnam gurutvam. Okay. Asamavayi karnam. Adi patana. Things falling down on its own, that karanam is gurutvam on its own. But it is not intrinsic to it. Okay? Prithvi jala vritti is connected by asamvayi karanam. What asamvayi karanam, samavayi karanam? We will deal in detail when he deals with it, okay? Now it will be too confusing. Okay. Why? Because gravity is acting on it. No? So heaviness, etc., depends upon your gravitational force. Not always your masses. 1 kilo of cotton, 1 kilo of iron. Same weight, same gravitational force acting on both. What about the masses? 1 kilo of iron will be only this much. 1 kilo of cotton. Masses are different. Okay. Masses are different. Therefore, here is talking of only of heaviness, the measure of this thing acting. How heavy an object is, not how much mass it has. Okay, Guru. Prithvi Adi Jalavritti. Prithvi Jalavritti generally found in Prithvi, a tangible object, and water. And water. Is there in human beings also. You are also made up of Jala and water. Prithvi is there in you, so naturally you also have it. Actually speaking, if you are going by scientific thing, it will also be there in air. What is keeping our atmosphere intact? Gravitational force. Otherwise, air will not be there. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Simple. I think one more class will be simple. Dravitvam, sound. Yes. After that, cognition. After that, the Maja will start. Yeah. Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.